Hey guys, so not my normal type of video, but you've been asking a lot about action cameras, and I have shot and edited literally hundreds of hours worth of action camera footage over the years racing my bike. So I have always been curious about these made in China, off-brand action cameras that you can find for really cheap on Amazon. Like all the specs of a Hero 8, of a flagship GoPro model at like half the price. So when Akaso reached out and wanted to send me their flagship unit, the Brave 7 LE, it ticked all those boxes. On paper, it is identical to this Hero 8. All the specs at like 140 bucks, less than half the cost. So had to check it out, right? So Akaso had absolutely no input on the outcome of this video. In fact, the first time they're going to be watching this is probably right now, when you guys are watching this. And that's going to be really obvious here in the next couple of minutes. But my opinions, my recommendations are just to help you guys make smarter purchases. Because let's face it, this is an expensive sport. And if I can help you make better purchase decisions, then we all win. So with that being said, what I want to do is compare these three cameras. So I have the Akaso flagship, which is the $140 Brave 7 LE. The GoPro flagship, the Hero 8 Black, which is, I think, I bought it for $400, but I think you can find it for $300 brand new now. And then I'm going to throw in this little cube, which is now discontinued, but it is the Hero 5 Session, which you can still find online for about $100. And after I'm done making these three comparisons, what I'm going to do is talk for a moment about what I think are the qualities that you should be looking for in an action camera. And then finally what I'll do is talk about my top three recommendations, sort of at different price points. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so probably the most important consideration is video quality, right? So I want to just roll this clip that I collected from each camera. Identical settings. It's 1080p, 60 frames per second. Image stabilization is on. I want you to choose A, B, or C. One collected from each of these three. And I want you to tell me which one you think is best. Okay, cameras A and B were the GoPros, but I will bet that you had a hard time picking which one was the $300 flagship versus the $100 now aging Hero 5 Session. And if you look closely, some of you might be able to tell the difference. The 8 Black was B and the Hero 5 Session was camera A. And that leaves, unfortunately for Akaso, camera C. And it is just so bad that I couldn't even use this footage. I wouldn't use this footage that came out of this camera. So you might be wondering, what about higher resolutions? Right? Because that's why you get the flagship. This thing can do 4K after all. So what I did next is I compared these two cameras, the two flagships. And this time it was at the highest possible setting where I could still shoot in super wide. And that is 2.7K resolution. Image stabilization is still on. All the other settings are identical. And let's roll that clip right now and see if you can tell the difference versus A or B. And you guessed it, the Akaso was camera B. It didn't improve very much. The GoPro was camera A, the clear winner in this case, followed closely by the Hero 5 Session, and then a very distant third is the poor Akaso. Even at higher resolutions and higher frame rates, the Akaso just produces a really, really poor quality image. There are some redeeming qualities of the Akaso. There is a forward-facing screen, so if you're like vlogging around town and you're looking at yourself on the forward-facing screen, that might be important to you. It's not at all important to me. The other great thing about the Akaso, maybe the only great thing about the Akaso, is the battery life. I ran this thing for 2.5 hours before it ran out of batteries at the same settings that we just did that last test. And the GoPro only lasts about 50 minutes on average, depending on the temperature. But that's probably because the Akaso isn't really recording that high of quality footage. So I could just bump the settings down on the GoPro and get much better battery life. And anyway, I'd rather get 45 to 55 minutes of fantastic footage out of the Hero 8 than 2.5 hours of complete. So the menu is easy to navigate, other than some translation issues, just like the GoPro. Good menu system on the GoPro. It's got this forward-facing camera, and it's got a great battery. So if those things are useful for you, maybe this is the camera. Maybe this is your choice. If you need a really long-lasting battery and you need this forward-facing camera for vlogging around, this might be your best bet. But man, I just wanted this thing to be good because I'm so tired of giving GoPro all of my money. But I can't use it. The image quality is just that poor. So for that reason, I can't recommend buying this camera. Which is a good segue into the cameras that I would recommend. And if you want the best, based on the cameras I've used, the king is still GoPro, and the GoPro's flagship is the Hero 8 Black. This is the best GoPro that you can buy. The Hero 7, honestly, if you can find a good deal on the Hero 7 Black, they're almost the same camera. Really, my only complaint with the GoPro Hero 8 Black is the battery life. I wish it were just a little bit bigger of a battery, a little bit longer lasting of a battery, so I could turn it on at the beginning of a 60-minute crit and have confidence that it's going to record the end of a crit. The way it stands now is I wait about 15 or 20 minutes into a race, and then I reach down and turn it on with that cool feature, which is a one-button recording, so it can turn on and start recording with the press of one button. But it's expensive, and I paid $400 for it. I think you can find them for $300 now. If you can find, like I said, if you can find the 7 for cheaper, they're about the same. So those are the top dogs. They give you the super wide, they give you the high resolution. That's what you're looking for. But if you don't have $300, I don't blame you. That's expensive for an action camera. This is the best form factor. Beats the flagship GoPro Hero 8, and that is the 5 session, which is my my next recommendation. If you got about $100 to spend, this is such a good camera. Go back to 2018. Look at my footage from 2018. That was all shot on this guy right here. The menu system isn't very good, but once you get the settings you want dialed in, then this thing's good to go. The battery life is better than the Hero 8, but that being said, that's because, you know, the stabilization, the resolution, the frame rate options and things like that aren't quite as good. So what I do with this is I shoot 1080p, 60 frames per second, super wide. I get 2.7 with the Hero 8, and the picture is just a little bit better. I'll show them again right now compared. You can't really tell. It's not a huge difference. This is a great camera for $100. And if you don't have $100, save up, because I don't think that there's any options less than $100 that are going to give you good looking footage, usable footage. Find secondhand if you absolutely need something, find secondhand, but I just cannot recommend these knockoff, off-brand cameras. I just can't do it. I hope this helps. I'll be shipping this camera to a random subscriber in the comments section below, so if you have a question that I didn't address about my cameras or settings, or any other topic that you want me to address in the next video, let me know down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you at the next one.